Hey everyone, big news. Jack Smith was finally forced to drop his major January 6th prosecution, really a sham prosecution against President Trump today. The American people essentially found Trump innocent on Election Day, and all of the political prosecutions against him should end. And it's great news. It's a big victory for the rule of law. And I tell you, it's necessary but not sufficient. More needs to be done to investigate, expose, and hold accountable those responsible for this, the biggest corruption scandal in American history, the targeting of President Trump and other innocents. Heck, even I was brought in as a witness and harassed for hours by the Jack Smith team. So we want justice, we want accountability, and Judicial Watch won't stop the heavy lifting. But there also needs to be a criminal investigation of the abusers who targeted Trump and the rule of law.
Jack Smith has officially dropped all of the charges, which should have happened a long time ago, because if I'm being honest, we all knew that this was frivolous. The American people was able to see right through the BS. And the lawfare against Donald Trump has just been, come on, man, it's been clear as day. Charlie Kirk posted Jack Smith has filed a motion to dismiss all charges against President Trump, which means America won. Let's go ahead and read this document real quick. The United States of America versus Donald J. Trump. Government's motion to dismiss. Oh my God, that phrase feels so good, right? Motion to dismiss. I wonder if CNN and all of these left-wing media was going to be owned by, your boy Elon in a minute. I wonder if they're going to report, this truth so elegantly. Anyhow, as a result of the election held on November 5th, 2024, the defendant, Donald J. Trump, will be inaugurated as president on January 20th, 2025. It has long been the position of the Department of Justice that the United States Constitution forbids the federal indictment and subsequent criminal prosecution of a sitting president. But the department and the country have never faced the circumstance here, where a federal indictment against a private citizen has been returned by a grand jury and a criminal prosecution is already underway when the defendant is elected president. Confronted with the unprecedented situation, the special counsel's office consulted with the department's Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, whose interpretation of constitutional questions such as those raised herein is binding on department prosecutors. After careful considerations, the department has determined that OLC's prior opinions concerning the Constitution's prohibition on federal indictment and prosecution of a sitting president applied to this situation, and that as a result, this prosecution must be dismissed before the defendant is inaugurated. That's right, lawfare against Donald Trump is officially over, but not really, because if you ask me, I feel like, man, these people need to be held accountable. Jack Smith and those alike for bringing this type of BS on, knowing that it was frivolous. I'm saying it's almost like, it wasn't a real case to begin with. That's all I'm saying. Somebody said this memes keep giving. I don't even want to show that one. Now let's investigate Jack Smith for the crimes he committed. Somebody wrote, when attempting to interfere in election fails and you realize you're going to be fair game for prosecution. I think this is them definitely trying to clean up as much as they possibly can. I'm going to keep it real. I really do. Now, Donald Trump, he decided to reply. Well, I don't know if this is a real Donald Trump reply because this is coming from the parody account, but it says, I'm officially not guilty on all counts, all of witch hunt cases brought by Jack Smith and other corrupt prosecutors against your favorite president, Teflon Don. Wow. I'm start calling him Teflon Don. But all the cases brought against him have been dropped. We cannot continue to prosecute political opponents in the future. Let's check this out.
It's always been very clear that the documents case, it's a hoax, is nothing but an election interference scam concocted by crooked Joe Biden and deranged Jack Smith and their hacks and thugs. It's totally illegal what they've done. And now deranged Jack has admitted in a filing in front of Judge Cannon, a highly respected judge, strong and smart, to what I've been saying happened since the illegal raid of my home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. An illegal raid it was, that he and his team committed blatant evidence tampering by mishandling the very boxes they used as a pretext to bring this fake case and to hurt the president so that crooked Joe Biden could get another 4 years, which would destroy our country. This deeply illegal action by the politicized persecutors mandate that this whole witch hunt be dropped immediately. They are crooked. They are corrupt. They are bad people. And by the way, they let Biden out of his boxes examination, documents, whatever you want to call it. They let him out with no problem. He can go. He had 10 times the boxes. He had a lot of classified information. They let him out, but they continue to go after Donald Trump. But I think it's going to end very well. So we want to put a stop to the boxes, hoaxes. We're going to make America great again. And 2024 is going to be the biggest year in the history of our country. And November 5th is going to be the single biggest day in the history of America. It's called Election Day. We're going to turn our country around, make America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you very much.
Y'all know we got to read all the comments. Well, not the comments from there, but we got to see the sentiment over here on X. It says Jack Smith, Michelle wrote, Jack Smith and FBI agents tampered with evidence and bought incriminating props to the Mar-a-Lago raid. Yeah, how you going to sit there and bring covers? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are those called? Yeah, just cover pages. My fault, y'all, having a brain fart. Yeah, you sit there bringing cover pages and all that. You positioning the documents in certain ways. That way it can look a certain kind of. Yeah, tampering with evidence is a 3rd-degree felony punishable by 2 to 10 years in prison. They say, I pray that AG Pam Bondi prosecutes them all and lock their A's up. Yeah, man, I hope so too. Elena Haba actually replied, will Jack Smith reimburse taxpayers for the millions wasted on this bogus witch hunt he just dropped, asking for America? You know what? He definitely deserves to do so. He definitely needs to do so. I'm telling you, these people not being held accountable for this is actually the injustice. Sure, we get what we want, what's necessary, what's fair, which is Donald Trump being, taken off of these trials, these sham trials, these shield trials. However, these people not being held accountable is still just a bigger loss, because this unfortunately just shows America that these people can do this lawfare and get away with it. No consequences. And us average citizens, we can't get away with half of that stuff, man. We got Bannon right here. He says, he's also speaking on this. Judges, you're not hiding behind your cloaks. We're coming for you. What you did to J6 people is criminal. Let's go and let him say this real quick. Let's check it out.
Just understand, you're not going to hide behind your cloaks. We're coming for you too. You are corrupt. What you allowed to happen in that D.C. courtroom and what you allowed to do to these J6 people and send these to prison, Benny Thompson, you're corrupt. Liz Cheney, you're corrupt. Preserve your documents, because we're coming after you. You people are criminals. And you put people that didn't have the money to defend themselves, you put them in prison and you destroyed their lives and you tried to break them. You got a 70-year-old Gold Star mother in a prison in Colorado right now. Okay? In a prison in Colorado, totally made up charges. You people are revolting. You're disgusting. And Damon Williams and Jack Smith, you can quit and run. Andrew Weissman, you can run wherever you're going to run. The long arm of the law is going to track you down and you're going to be held accountable.
Yeah, man. Run wherever y'all want to run. But I'm telling you, like, with the climate of today, we need justice, okay? There's no way around it. And what Bannon, just said right here was just on point. You guys have destroyed lives. You have people in jail for no reason based off of the lies and the false rhetoric that has been debunked, but you guys refuse to acknowledge. You will be, you know what I mean? And then if that don't happen, I'm going to tell you what, God going to deal with you. That man way more powerful than any government. Now, Benny Johnson posted this flashback. It said Trump expected FBI Director Kash Patel calls for Jack Smith to be held in contempt and jailed. Okay. So we see the sentiment is the same. Everybody feel the same way we feel in Kingdom.
Jack Smith has just been exposed by Judge Cannon of doing what? Lying to a federal court. These guys keep doing it. The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at DOJ? And they learn it from the same place. The top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering him on. I hope Judge Cannon, he's an actual fun legal thing that should actually be occurring. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice, lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
It makes you wonder, what is the motive? I mean, because if Donald Trump had lost the election, what would Jack Smith be doing right now? What would the DOJ be doing right now? You think they would be dropping any of these charges against Donald Trump? I don't think so. You know what? I think right now what they're doing is trying to save face. It's like, you know what? Hey, yo, Trump came back in office for, hey, dog, we were just playing. You see, Donald Trump, he built like that, though. If I'm being honest, he's known for actually keeping it cool with his enemies. Literally, he went to dap up Biden in the White House. You couldn't pay me to do that, dog. I wouldn't be able to do it anyhow. Matt Gaetz, who stepped down from being a nominee for the Attorney General of the United States, actually weighed on this, and he warns that Jack Smith would not have dropped any of the charges against Trump had he lost the election. Think about it. He had to become president to save himself.
Congrats to President Trump for being 100% not guilty, but I want all Americans to remember this. If we had somehow not prevailed in this election, Jack Smith would not be dismissing these charges. He would be proceeding to trial. And though this monumental victory was won for all Americans led by President Trump, we have to remember, just like we came within fractions of fractions from civil war when President Trump survived an assassination attempt, we also were just fractions away from these people trying to throw Donald Trump in prison. So while all of us are grateful for this victory, for Trump, it was victory or prison, because he wasn't going to get a fair trial. It was going to be some knockdown, drag out deal with a predetermined outcome. So enjoy the victory, President Trump. But the rest of us have to do all we can to ensure that no one is ever put in this type of a situation again, and we make America great again.
Well, this is what we expected. I wrote over a year ago that there was a good chance Jack Smith would never see the inside of a courtroom for a trial in this case. It made this election the largest effective jury verdict in history by reelecting Donald Trump. The special counsel found himself at odds with his own department's longstanding policy against the prosecution of a sitting president. But Smith did not go quietly into that night. I expect that he did get a lot of different opinions, hoping for the right one. But the OLC, this office that handles such questions, has long taken this position. So it would be doubtful that they would change it here. But, you know, Smith had a sort of a gratuitous end to his term. You know, he pushed not only for a trial before the election, and he pushed for months for that, but he also released damaging information before the election, something that many people saw as an effort to influence the election. Smith knew that if Trump won, he was out of a job. And this release of the information was entirely unnecessary. The judge admitted that it was procedurally irregular, but she went along with it. And I think that that did tarnish his position, and certainly in history, because he didn't have to do that. He had become so absolutely fixated on trying Trump before the election that he lost credibility, I think, with the courts. He went up to the Supreme Court. They didn't accept that that was the overriding consideration in looking at these legal issues. I think it's also very important to remember that Smith's case was riddled with constitutional problems. You know, when the Supreme Court reached its immunity decision, it was clear that he would have to pare down his indictment. He really didn't do it to the degree he needed to do. He took a very minimalist approach. He removed a few references, a few witnesses that stemmed from the first Trump presidency, but he largely just repackaged it. And some of us said that we thought that it was not enough, that if he ever did go to trial, he could be reversed just on that basis.
I'll end with this. to the people who saying Trump's DOJ shouldn't go after the people who tried to go after him, I think we need to raise an eyebrow at them, like dead serious. I think they need to be held accountable to keep them from just doing it again. And if they get the power to do it again, I don't think that ever happened, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know why I tried to segue into that. Peace.